What's going on, guys? Kyle with DTOM Knives and Gear, and today we have a really cool all-American made knife to go over with you guys. This is my first experience with them. You might have seen my unboxing of the Jonathan McNees MAC2 3.5. There has been the MAC2, which is a 3-inch blade version that's been out for some time. I have never handled one of those. I did have a chance to watch some buddies who have had them on the channel, and that particular size doesn't appeal to me at all. You guys know me that I like bigger knives, and if they are smaller knives, they got to have some features that the MAC2 just doesn't have, mainly a finger choil, because it looks just like it's way too small for my hand size without that, kind of like the Sabenza, the small Sabenzas. Or any Chris Reeve knife for that matter, that just doesn't work with these things here. So whenever I heard about the 3.5 inch and it being bigger, was pretty cool, pretty excited about that. I really had not heard about it until, which leads into who lent this knife to us, Screaming Pirate EDC on Instagram and YouTube. He has a YouTube channel. He has featured this knife. This is a prototype, if I didn't already mention that. These are not available yet, and we will go over what the differences between this and the production models will be and whatnot. But this is prototype number 5. I want to say there's only 9 or 10 made. I can't remember exactly. This one's number 5. But definitely go check out Screaming Pirate EDC. Look at that fucking awesome logo he's got there. I'm so jealous because I love it. I love that logo. Go check him out. Links will be down below. So Screaming Pirate EDC actually bought this particular knife at Blade Show. We were there together. We got to hang out some. Really cool dude. Got to meet his wife, who won this really cool custom from Brian Brown. Oh, that thing was nice. Anyway, got to hang out with him, the old man. Even though he was a freaking old man, it's hard to keep up with whenever, he's hard to keep up whenever he's in walker. The old man just is too fucking slow, okay? We were trying to walk around a Blade Show, and the old man was just fucking dragging us down. Love you, old man. But it was really, really a lot of fun hanging out with everybody. And he told the story on his video about this knife, on how he come about. He got the early bird special. Me and Kevin did not get the early bird special. He went over there, found this, and had to have it. One of the reasons that he had to have it is because the MAC2, the 3-inch version, is one of his favorite knives. So obviously, this appealed to him right off the bat. This one is a prototype, and it's special, really special in one way, because this one in particular is hand ground by Jonathan McNees. It is a hollow grind, and the grind lines on it are absolutely gorgeous. The finish of the blade, all of that, gorgeous. Of course, you see there you have USA, baby, and then on the marking you have the 20 CV, and then hand ground McNees. This is a very deep laser etching that's on this thing, so you can feel the texturing and whatnot. I'm not one for a whole lot of branding, but this one is done, and especially don't mind that right there, that American flag and USA, put it all over it. Which is another reason that this knife is very exciting for me. To have another American-made company producing quality knives. You know, you've got your big ones. You've got your Hinderer, your Chris Reeve, your Spartan blades. You've got, and we're talking about the higher end stuff. I mean, you've also got TRM, which make great knives, not quite to the higher end. You know, they keep in their knives relatively budget friendly, which is awesome. And that's actually turning the corner for American manufacturing and the knife company. People are trying to keep up with TRM, because kudos to to TRM and their people over there. They're freaking awesome. But, you know, Koenig Arius's, or Koenig in general, all these, in Medford. I mean, you got higher end American-made companies, and there's a price point that goes along with those. Because obviously, American-made means good quality most of the time. You know, you get excellent quality most of the time whenever you have American-made products. I've handled some that just have not made it up to par. I'm not going to name any newer brands, but Some of them got some work to do, but for the most part, anything as far as knife manufacturers in the U.S. that do the higher end production stuff does a really, really good job. Case in point, I do have the Spartan Blades Harsey folder and the XM18 3.5 inch, the Koenig Arius, those kinds of higher end production knives. Now, when we're talking about this price range, this is a prototype, but the regular knife, the production knife made in America, will be running around $490 for 20 CV titanium, running on bearings. They're Delrin bearings, which I've come to find out are badass. Woo! But that's what we're looking at, and that's what we're kind of comparing to. This one, thank goodness it's a 3.5 inch. Let's talk about what I love. So what I love about this knife, and what I really enjoy in my knives now, my taste have changed over the year and so odd months that I've had the channel. This thing is one of the best thumb stud action knives that I have ever handled. I've got some really good, my all-time favorite detent action on the knife is the Leon Mall Field Duty. You see this knife all the time on the channel. You will continue to, because this knife has the best detent and closing action on a knife in one package that I've ever felt. And I've got some pretty good ones, and even the Koenig Arius. But thumb studs, thumb studs are not my favorite, but I like them more than just a flipper only. Why? Because I can do that right there, and I can do the reverse flick with the thumb stud. This really does. When you hear about people talking about, it's like, wow, the detent is so good and the action is so good, it feels assisted. That's exactly how this one feels. More so than any other knife that I have had in my possession. Now, the thumb stud positioning here, when I saw some videos of people with the 3-inch version, the original MAC2, there was a little bit of controversy about the placement of the thumb studs. And this one is, I would say, higher up than on some other ones. But I have to think that was obviously a design thing. It wasn't just like he wanted to put it there and that's where he put it. Because the leverage between the action, where the pivot is and where the thumb stud is what makes it such a great flipping action with the thumb studs. And you've got room down there to do that, which is just, obviously that's how I love to open my knives, is a reverse flick. So it makes it a very fidgety knife for me. The other thing I love about this knife is this. Oh, the closing action on it is top notch, up there with all the ones that I rave about. And not only is it that fall shut, controlled, smooth as freaking glass, but it's centered. It's centered, and it is, locks up like a bank vault. So it's put together with really good tolerancing. Now, I can't say that everything that comes out of McNees facility is like that, because that's really the only way that you can feel that. But I can safely say that everybody that I talked to with the knife hasn't had any issues with as far as manufacturing tolerances, that kind of thing. The reason, or the thing that I see with this knife is I see this as a work knife. It is a simple design. It's simple. You've got titanium slabs with this 20 CV blade, some standoffs there, lanyard hole. Pretty simple. Your lines for your ergonomics for this particular size works really well. It's a simple yet beefy, and in my opinion, a hard use knife. This is definitely a knife that I can see having on me, doing hard work, and it really take a beating and keep on going, which is good. That's exactly what you expect, right? For something that's a simplistic design, yet beefy. You want it to feel solid, and boy, does this feel solid. It feels just as solid as the Nkosi that I had, the XM18. It feels just as solid. The one thing that, it's a pretty good comparison. We'll do size comparisons, obviously, and stuff when we, do when we flip the camera around. But the Rick Hinderer XM18 3.5 inch and this one, they're similar, but you can see this is still a smaller footprint of a knife. You've got longer handle length on this guy, and you have a finger choil. So the ergonomics of this guy really, really work well because it has those features that I typically enjoy. However, as far as the action on the Rick Hinderer, this big old flipper tab out here works great, and for my push button that I like. The thumb studs are not thumb studs. They're really blade stops, but you can use them. And this one has finally, I'm able to, which it's been like that for a while, but I'm able to do the reverse flick on this. But it is nowhere near as intuitive and fun to do as the McNees or the MAC2 3.0. Jesus, the MAC2 3.5. This thing's got a lot going for it, and there's some things about this knife that I like more about this knife. And if I had this knife for longer, I might do a comparison, which we'll talk about a little bit when we flip the camera around. But closing action, flipping action are absolutely the things that I love about this knife and didn't want to take it out of my pocket. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the things that I might change if it was me. And then some of the things that we know are going to change because this is a prototype. So like I said before, this one is hand ground, hollow grind for Mr. McNees himself, which made Screaming Pirate freaking bonkers. He loved that. I love that. This is a very, very nice grind. This particular hollow grind is about 18 thousandths behind the edge. So the other ones will be a taller flat grind than on the 3-inch version. So we don't really know what the thickness behind the edge is going to be there on this guy. However, I'm not expecting it to be a laser beam of behind the edge, as far as a cutter. I'm expecting to cut well, but I'm not expecting a laser. And the reason I say that is because this is 18 thousandths with hollow grind. He does say that he brings it down to like 10 thousandths before putting on the secondary bevel. So, but that still depends on, your angles and all this other stuff. I mean, I'm fully expecting the flat grind to be anywhere between 20, 22 thousandths behind the edge, but you can't quote me on it because I don't really know. Which is still a very fine tip for most everybody's cutting performance. You're talking about 150 thousandths blade stock, so it's got some meat there. And sometimes with a thicker geometry, it helps with the toughness of the blade or the cutting task. So it's kind of to each other. If you're looking for a just absolute laser beam slicer, it may not be that for the production model. But a good, tough, robust work knife, it is almost guaranteed to be because of this guy. The only other thing that they are going to change as well, that I know for sure, is going to be this pocket clip. Now, I want to say that it was kind of vague. I know the pocket clip is going to change as far as getting longer, but I'm not sure if the actual design is going to change. The pocket clip is the only thing that kind of gives me the kind of eh. But on this one, it's because, and he already knows the issue, is because of where the ramp is and putting right there next to where the lock bar cutout is, it makes it snag coming out of your pocket. The longer pocket clip that he's going to have on this is going to prevent that, so it should go in, or it goes in pocket really well. It's coming out of the pocket where you have the issue. And so that should change that on this knife. However, even if it didn't do that, the pocket clip is just okay for me. It works perfectly fine. I'm not one that I have to have a deep carry clip. This one doesn't have a deep carry clip. Guess what doesn't? What other ones does not? Almost every one on the table. The Spartan Harsey, the Hinderer, the Koenig Arius. None of them have deep carry clips. Doesn't bother me at all. This one is a titanium bent clip. Has great retention. I don't know. It just doesn't flow with a knife, I guess. This particular pocket clip, I think, is the exact same one that comes in 3 inches, which is why it's not working as well. And so it being longer is probably going to prevent that from happening and probably feel better. So I really, really am talking out my ass because I really don't know, but that's my feel on that. The only other thing, so basically we're talking about nearly a $500 knife. It's in the same price range as some of these others, right? This one does not have a lock bar insert. Just has a carbonized titanium face. And be honest with you, it depends on who you talk to which ones they'd rather have. I know a lot of people who like that, and a lot of people who just need to have a lock bar insert. I'm one of those that a lock bar insert for me sounds better. It's better on paper. If you have a problem, you can just replace that and not have to worry about anything else. But the carbonized titanium face has been in existence for a long time. And to be honest, I have never heard anybody have a problem with it. Now, I have heard that there's lock stick issues sometimes in a break-in period. This is not a brand new knife, but there's absolutely no lock stick on this bad boy. It is very easy to get out of the way to drop onto your nail. You've got really good lock bar access. It does have swedges, basically kissing the edges right there. So it's real comfortable. There's nothing poking you to get it in and out of the way. Nothing like that. But a lock bar insert or and an over travel stop are things that usually I want in a higher end production knife. This one doesn't have either of those. However, you could argue that the pocket clip itself can, act as an over travel stop. And there again, it's not like it's a necessity. I also have never heard or myself ever had an opportunity or an experience where I over traveled the lock bar ever. However, I get where a lot of people would be like, yeah, but I'm paying this price. If they have it on these knives, why doesn't it have it on there? It's a good question. It's a good question. I don't think you need any of that. I really, really don't. It's just something that you are used to seeing nowadays. So it's one of those things I just kind of thought about, and then I thought about it some more, and then I was like, why am I complaining about this? But I know people are. I really have no issues with them not being there. Especially because of how solid it is. It just feels solid as hell. The finish that we've got on this guy, this is titanium scales that anodize this blue color. It almost maybe looks like it's blasted beforehand. You've got a really cool texturing, I think, which is one of his signature things right there where the lock bar cutout is. But these blue scales look good, but this particular finish, and you can see there's some wear there. That's the only thing I don't like about this particular kind of finish. And I'm not sure, he might offer other finishes in some of these. I'm really not sure. Other colors, I don't know. But my only qualm with this finish is that it does take scratches relatively easy. You will see wear on this, and people like that. They like it, gives it character and whatnot, and other people don't like that. Me, with this being a work knife, in my opinion, I would almost rather see something else on there to make it not show those as fast. The blade finish I don't have any problem with at all. I absolutely love this blade finish. The swedge on the top, the actual shape of the blade. It's a very, very attractive looking blade. And part of the attractiveness is the shape and the ergonomics on this guy. Even with my finger in this main choil here, I can still get 4 fingers wrapped around it without using this little front area, which is not a choil, but it is a spot for my finger. Let me see if I can show you a little bit better. This little area here. So when my finger, this main choil wrapping around, I mean, you don't see any knife sticking out. I almost feel like I'm too far back. However, my thumb lands on the jimping here. I didn't find myself using that grip hardly ever. I did find myself putting my index finger there and wrapping around, and that feels really good in hand. However, my thumb is landing right up here, and the jimping ends right there. So my thumb is not on the jimping in the saber grip where I like to hold it. If I was to say or ask for something, if it was like a custom knife for me, I'd want that jimping to be up a little bit higher. That way, in that grip, I could feel the jimping because the jimping is very nice. It's not very close together, but it's not far apart. You can see, though, it does trap some dirt in that area, which I don't care about that. But that's what the jimping looks like. It's very grippy, not sharp, not going to cut you, but it is very grippy. So in this backed up grip, I can feel it, and it's very useful. Up here, it just doesn't, it's not up there far enough. Damn, there was something else I had right on my mind, and I cannot remember. Oh, yeah, one of the other things that he was talking about that he might change is the thumb studs. Like, kind of, he said that some people say that the MAC2 original one says those are aggressive. I wouldn't change them. I wouldn't change them at all, Jonathan. I love these thumb studs, and they're not too aggressive. I think they're perfect. So it's something that he had mentioned, but if you're wanting my opinion, I would not change that at all. I think they work really, really well. You do have also the signature orange peel pivot there. All of the hardware on this guy is T8, which automatically tells me that the guy knows what he's doing and listens to the community, because anybody who's still using T6 hardware on knives, stop it. I have a lot, and I still use them, and I still buy them. But we all prefer to have at least T8. He's got T8 throughout, even on the pocket clip screws. So, yay. Thank you. We love it. We really, really do. You can also see that the depth of the holes, like to put their bit in there to get those out, is actually pretty deep. I don't see that very much. I usually see it either to be flush or a little bit below. Or I'm sorry, flush or a little bit above the titanium surfaces. So that's actually pretty different. I'm not sure. I mean, it's fine. I'm not sure if I like it better or worse. Maybe it has more protection, But as you can see, it's only on, you get the hardware there. It's on the one side, goes through those pins. So, and that's, you can barely feel it on this side where the screw goes down. Barely feel it above there. Does have a lanyard hole for you people who like lanyards. And then ergonomically, for this not to come up to a point but actually plateau off right here, does help with the grip, especially whenever I'm back here where my pinky lands. The pinky lands right there. Very, very nice touch. I'm really glad he did that and didn't bring this, to a point. I really, really enjoy this knife, and there is one thing. There's one thing I'm going to ask him to do, and he's not going to do it because I'm a peon, but I think it'd be cool. All right, so this is a prototype, and it's hand ground. So who else do we know that offers a hand ground and a machine ground blade? The Demkos. I think it would be absolutely fucking bonkers killer, and I think he would do well if he offered these as an extra price. More, because it's the same thing with the Demkos. Offer these with a flat grind or a hollow grind that's hand done like this, because I'm telling you, I love it. I love the hollow grind. He did an excellent job, and I believe people would order a hand ground blade from him and pay a little bit extra. I don't think it's going to happen, folks, so don't get your hopes up. But I think it would be cool to have that. A flat grind, it would be a high saber grind, or it's going to perform, it's going to be fine. However, I just think that would be badass. How does it cut? Well, this is not my knife, so I'm only going to do like a cardboard cutting test and not do anything else. It was just my regular EDC test because it's not my knife, and I just don't do that with knives that are not mine. But as far as cutting cardboard, the grind on this thing is excellent. You can't take that for what it's worth on the production model because it's going to be a different grind. But this thing feels amazing in hand when it's cutting through cardboard. The thickness of the blade is robust, but it's on this thing especially, moves the material out of the way. Feels really good cutting cardboard. And you've got, 3.5 inches or 3.4 inches or whatever of blade, so it's plenty of blade for almost anything you want to do, right? So I've been very happy. Let's go ahead, turn the camera around and get some specs on this guy and compare it to some other American-made blades that I love in my collection and how they compare to the MAC2 3.5. Alrighty, so like I said, very simple, but very elegant design, done really, really well. Just an absolute perfect action on this guy on the deployment and the close, which really, to me, is so important. You guys know that I am a light user. I really love my knives to have really perfect detents and closing action because I do that all day long. This one, no exception, top marks for that. Get a little bit better look at that orange peel on the hardware there. That is one of his signature moves. There's that pocket clip that is going to extend out, not be so close to where the lock bar is, so that pocket clip situation should be fixed on the other ones. All T8 hardware. These are the button screws on that. Very nicely rounded off. No sharp spots, no hot spots on this guy. Very, very nice. There's that jimping. McNees, hand ground, USA, baby. God, I love it. I love USA-made blades, and I'm very happy that I'm able to get this guy in hand from a company that I've never handled before. Mr. Screaming Pirate, you are the man. So what are we looking at? Here it is inside the circle. So it is a full-size knife. Not a large knife, though. You know, it's not a Kyle-size knife, but it's a large, or I would say a regular size knife. You know, the overall length on this guy is about 7.65. You got a blade length of just under 3.5 inches, at like 3.43 or something like that. The blade thickness is 150 thousandths. The handle thickness is about 490, so it is under that half inch that a lot of people use as standard, which is cool. It is about 18 thousandths behind the edge, and it weighs about 4.5 ounces. Yeah, 4.5 ounces when you're talking about the ounce per inch thing. No, it doesn't meet that, but fuck that. You know, a lot of people like that and go by that. You know, you guys know me. I don't, and I think that's just stupid, even though I say it every single time that it either meets it or doesn't. So I don't know what I'm bitching about, right? But 4.5 ounces, yes, you know, it carries really well in the pocket. Taking it out, like I said, with that pocket clip is going to change, but it carries really well in the pocket. The detent is good. You don't have to worry about it opening up, anything like that. I don't think the weight is bad. Matter of fact, it is way lighter than some of the knives that I carry on a daily basis. So there you go. We talked about the thumb studs. We talked about the... Okay, so before we get the size comparisons, real fast, September, October is when these will be available. So head over to his Instagram website. Links will be down below. And then that way you can be notified when these do hit. So let's go ahead and bring out the one that I really want to compare it to, which is the Hinderer XM18, 3.5 inch. And let's see if we can put them pivot to pivot here. So as you can see, yes, the XM18 3.5 inch is a bigger footprint, but not by much. Definitely different ergonomics. You have a finger choil here, which I really wish this thing had. However, I understand why he didn't want to put it on there. He wanted that full length of blade length, cutting edge. Jesus, can't talk. So I understand that a lot of people would rather have that. And with this little area here that I'm able to choke up and get pretty much behind the blade, it's really not bad. I really enjoyed this grip. Just bringing that jimping up just a tad bit more would complete that for me. Let's go ahead and put it up against the Spartan Harsey folder. Now this one is a 4-inch blade, so it's definitely longer, but it's very similar in, I guess, in materials used and the way that it's constructed. Titanium scales. You've got standoffs. You know, you've got a little bit more flashy standoffs on the Hinderer and the Spartan versus this. These are basically just barrels. You know, I could see, you know, maybe upgrading those in the future to make them a little bit more standoffish like these are. Give it a little bit more pop because it's almost too simple. Of course, this guy is one of the special edition versions, so it's all kind of blinged out. But, you know, full titanium. This guy and this guy are not cut out on the titanium at all. Of course, this has a micarta side. These are not cut out. The McNees, the MAC2 3.5 is cut out, and it's cut out quite a bit Inside, it's not pockets like you're used to seeing on like the Koenig Aries or whatnot. It's just a bunch of holes to help with weight relief. So it would definitely be a lot heavier if they decided not to do that. So that was a definite good move. Got a much taller blade here. It is definitely, this one right here, still thinner than that. But like I said, because it's going to be a full flat grind, not sure what it's going to be, but it shouldn't be too bad. There are your size comparisons there. Let me go ahead and put it up against another American-made blade, the Koenig Aries. Koenig Aries is obviously a very ergonomic knife for me, especially one with the finger control. But as you can see, as far as overall size, we definitely are still smaller than the Koenig Aries, but the Koenig Aries is a larger knife. What about another USA-made blade, the TRM Atom? TRM Atom is also considered to be a large blade, but it's not too far off from the MAC2 3.5. But except for in the handle, you've got pretty much the same blade length, but the handle is just a little bit longer. And then, of course, just because I don't know if everybody has all these knives, but everybody should be at least pretty familiar with the PM2. Here it is against the PM2. It is definitely more Para 3 size. I'm sorry, not Para 3 size. It's kind of in the middle between the PM2 and the Para 3. I don't have my Para 3 because I gifted it away to somebody who was very close to me, and he is loving that knife, and I'm so happy that I did that. So there are your size comparisons. Very, very nice. I think every man's kind of a knife for work. It's not going to be your slicey EDC, just laser beam of a cutter. It's going to be robust, very nice action, very ergonomic EDC knife for working man. Well, I'm going to catch a lot of heat for this, but because of the action on this thing, I would so buy one of these before I buy a Chris Reeve. I know. Chris Reeve makes great knives. I just wish they'd get away from certain things, mainly S35VN, S45VN, even though those steels are absolutely fine. I just prefer 20CV. Bearings, I absolutely prefer, but Kyle, you're talking about a working knife and you're talking about bearings. Washers are better. I get it. I really do. A lot of people like washers on their knives, which is another reason that I really enjoy this guy, because you have a choice to do the tri-way pivot system, bearings, washers, or whatever. However, these two compared as well, this one's got some good stuff, that one's got some good stuff. This one, I don't know if I would, I don't know how I would go on which one I would want, because I don't have time to do a comparison, but these are almost identical as far as, I mean, you've got some features here that I like, you got some features here that I like, so it's a toss-up, and you're talking about a really close price range as well. But I will go ahead and say that there are thousands of these out there, and they are not going to be thousands of these. These are actually going to be limited runs, and so definitely, if you're thinking about, you have that kind of money, it'd really be cool to pick one of these up. In my opinion, don't let me tell you what to do, but fucking do it. No, just kidding. So anyways, look out. September, October, it's just right around the corner for the production models to be hitting pre-orders, I believe. And, definitely go check out the website, Screaming Pirate, and his Instagram and YouTube channel. McNees, his Instagram and website, well, all of that stuff will be linked down below, so you can go and check out what he does have to offer. I did not get a chance to meet him at Blade Show, and I am very sad about that, but he seems like just a really good dude. Talked to him a little bit on Instagram, so I love that about him, and then, of course, Screaming Pirate has actually talked to him and his people over there, which is a very small shop. I mean, it's really only a one-man shop. He might have a few people working for him, but that's another thing that you really got to love about this American-made knife, small American company, which adds to the price just in itself there, because it's just few people doing it. You don't have that high-end production, but that's what makes it special, guys. So anyways, thank you for stopping by and checking it out with me. As always, fuck YouTube and Google, and stay safe in this crazy world that we are living in, and we will see you in the next one.